We're official. All right. There's a few things that I would like for us to discuss. And like I said, this is a discussion that will take us into Wednesday's session as well. All right. But again, I just want to talk about a few things to look out for, as you put your draft number 3 together. The first thing, and this is one of the main things, all right, for your final draft, okay, make sure that is a full 4-page essay, okay. Even if you got like 3.5 right now, which was fine for this draft, if you got 3.25, $3.75 or whatever. I mean, 3 3/4 of a page. I had my students used to call like three and some change. It's like we need more. You need more than a change for this. Okay, you need a complete dollar. So four pages. And I'm saying that because it's just one of your portfolio essays. And when we evaluate those essays, is a full 4 pages a deal breaker? No, but you don't want anything that could possibly like weaken your case. All right, especially if the your final assessment doesn't turn out the way you want it to, just for whatever reason, then you're going to need to rely on those portfolio essays. So don't give yourself a disadvantage by making your final draft fewer than 4 pages. All right. So, but most of them I read were at 4 pages or just about there. Okay, and there are a few that went beyond, which is fine, but try not to go beyond like 5 pages and some change. All right. And again, just basic stuff, we can all be bearing in mind. Formatting. Okay, formatting. And to be honest, formatting shouldn't be a discussion, at this point in the semester. So make sure you're double spaced, right? Make sure you're using the right font, Times New Roman, 12 font. Okay, make sure your margins are set to 1 inch. I know if you're using Microsoft Word, the default setting is 1 inch, but if you're using another format, you may have to go in and mess around with your margins. All right, make sure you're using the same font like throughout your paper. Don't start out Arial, switch to Times New Roman, and then switch back to Arial. Just keep it uniform, Times New Roman. And I personally like Arial, but I wouldn't use that in if I was doing an essay or something like that. And like I was saying, make sure you're in 12 font. This class, right? I haven't had the issue of anybody using an enlarged font, which is, a trick people use sometimes. I know I used it once upon a time in the past. All right. This class, people have been going smaller, like 10 and 11 font. So make sure you're in 12, because if you have like 4 pages of 10, size 10 font, that's really about 5 pages and some change, possibly even 6, depending on what you have here. It's the same thing with spacing. Make sure you're double spaced, because if you have 4 pages like a single space text, I don't think anybody did that in this section, but 4 pages like single space text, that's a lot. Okay, that's a lot, and you're gonna have to trim some. Myron, what's up, man? You're on mute too. So yeah, okay.
So, okay, so when you first say like, here I am, I'm setting the paper up, I'm going to insert, and I'm pressing double space, I'm pressing the fonts, I'm going to Times New Roman. Man, I swear to you, when I go to type, all of it changes back again.
Okay, that's it. That's an easy fix. Let me show you
Well, it
what's
ain't been
what.
easy for me. So after this class, I want to talk about that. Okay.
Okay, and
Just
then
walk.
Myron, you're using Google Docs, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, let me just because I know
Like
I know
all
what's
the
happening
time,
too.
man. I set it up, I type, and then it just goes right back on its own.
Yep. So okay, now screen sharing. Okay, say this is your document. You typing, you typing, you typing, you typing. Okay,
Yeah,
and now you're done, right?
yeah,
And you say, "Oh man, how did that change back to Arial?" But when you finish it, Myron, you can just highlight the whole thing, like highlight all your text, and
right.
then just switch it back.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah,
I
so you
like
can just if it switches on you, and this is for anybody, right? If it switches up on you, or sometimes, and this is what I was saying before about making sure your text is like uniform throughout your entire essay. Just go back, highlight over the whole thing, and then go Times New Roman, and then make sure you're in 12. All right.
Okay,
Yeah,
got
and
it.
then in the future, folks, in this class, we keep doing multiple drafts and we can fix, but we have to keep in mind that when you guys get to the next English 1510, this is stuff your instructor is probably not going to spend that much time on. So it just helps, if you have this practice now, and really it just comes from repetition and kind of just being mindful, as you're doing it. Like, am I in the right font? That's why I put that question on your that self-assessment. All right. So, don't take that for granted, right? Just make sure, give it a quick once over.
Okay.
All right. So formatting. Okay. Make sure. Okay. We're doing that properly. But again, that's easy fix. Okay. Easy fix. Oh yeah. So now, my good people of English 1060. Okay. Um, I am in the week 7 module. All right. And if you will join me in there, or you can look on with me as I'm sharing my screen. Okay. I have a list of notes I keep looking at because I want to make sure I cover up. I'm just knocking out the stuff I can do quickly. Okay. Try, when you do your next draft, try to avoid announcements. What do I mean by announcements? This is what I mean. Oops, 7th grade. I was just hanging out with one of my best friends over the last weekend, and this is his story, sort of. All right. So when I say don't make announcements, this is what I mean. Like, this is the story of X, Y, and Z, or okay. Instead of telling your reader what you're about to do, just do it. So this could become, all right. So instead of saying, this is the story of, X, Y, and Z, let's get right into it. Okay. When I was in 11th grade, I became responsible for my little brother, so I had to drop out of school. Okay. Again, instead of I am going to tell you or this paper will be about, I am going to discuss after reading this paper, you will know. Just tell your story. Okay, just tell your story. And really, it's like you're not really communicating directly with your audience, meaning you aren't like pointing the finger at him saying, like, here's what I'm gonna do next. You're telling a story. So Statements like this can kind of take your reader out of your narrative. Okay. You want like a fluid, a story that's told like kind of fluidly without these, just distracting, I guess, bits of narration. Okay. So try not to make announcements. All right. And on a few of your papers, I even put, that specific comment. But, if I didn't, and, you see instances of this in your paper, try your best to edit them out, because we're sort of transitioning from revision to editing, this being our final draft. But, there's still going to be some elements of revision, in this paper. Okay. No announcements. Oh, yeah. Okay. I actually have a handout for this one. Here we go. Oh, now I want this one. All right. If on your papers, okay, you see a comment from me that says practice avoiding or practice eliminating unnecessary wordiness. Okay, that's nothing personal. All right. Some people say, "Oh, Mr. Norwood thinks I'm getting too wordy," but I don't mean it in that way. I mean that sometimes like being concise, or using fewer words to communicate your point. Using fewer words can like open space for you to create, for you to incorporate more detail. Okay. So this handout, there's actually two of them in the week 7 module. I'm just looking at this one, but there's avoid fillers, and then there's writing concisely. It's pretty much my story. uh, okay. Things like this, all of the way, and then actually, words like basically, like I basically, have blah 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 going on. Okay. Really, sometimes very, even are words that we don't need. All right. Oh, here's one. Okay, that I see a lot. Go strike out with that. Oh man. Due to the fact. When you say due to the fact, 9 times out of 10, you can just say because. Okay. Due to the fact, it's the same with this one. I see this one a lot too. Trials and tribulations. But really, when you say trials and tribulations, that's saying the same thing. So you can just say trials, or you can just say tribulation, but don't say trials and tribulations. Been through so many trials and tribulations. All right. But there's a lot of those things. Okay. Here's some examples. All right. Yeah. This is something I try to communicate to students, quite often. All right. And sometimes it's just, and I'm in this boat as well. Sometimes it's just the way we speak. We're having a conversation. That's fine. But we like I've been saying, sometimes we may have to do a little bit of like code switching, or we may just have to be more concise, in writing. And I think resumes, cover letters, concision, can be an asset, All right. So if we look at these in examples, There is an octopus sitting on top of my car. I'd want to know more about that story, about how an octopus, got on somebody's car. Okay. Octopuses are one of my favorite animals too. They're so smart. All right. There's an octopus sitting on my car. This is actually an interesting question. In order to apply the new method to our entire system, perhaps we should perform a local test. Okay. Now, nothing wrong with these sentences. Okay. They check out, from a mechanics and grammar standpoint, but sometimes when we're revising, or even more specifically when we're editing, sometimes we can ask ourselves, like, can I use fewer words, to communicate the same point? Now, that's not to say sometimes you'll need a full-on explanation. So when I say practice eliminating unnecessary wordiness, it's not it's not about, taking out details you need. It's about communicating these same details or telling the same story, just using fewer words when you can. But like I was saying, sometimes you need, everything there, and I get that. Okay. So let's look at, some of the revisions. So instead of there is an octopus sitting on my car, an octopus is sitting on my car. How did he get there? Okay. This question is interesting. So we took out the actually, right? And this one is like kind of big and clunky. Okay. We should perform a local test before applying the new method to our system. And now we're using fewer words in all three of these examples, but I think the third example shows how sometimes eliminating unnecessary words can add to a sentence's clarity. All right, being more concise. Or a lot of times when I'm meeting like one-to-one with students, I always tell them, like, say what you mean. Okay, say what you mean, or make it plain. Make it plain. Say what you mean, just get it out. If you want to go back and add some enhancements to whatever you said, that's fine. But I think first of all, the most important thing is just clearly communicating what you mean. And sometimes that involves, being concise. Okay. What? Cutting 25 to 30%, right, off of our paragraph just by eliminating filler. So now that you've eliminated filler, you got more space to add concrete details, okay, or more content, right, more specifics, more space to use descriptive language. So you're getting rid of the things you don't need and incorporating more of what you do need, in an essay. So if your essay is running a bit long, sometimes that is, taking out, details you don't need. Other times that's just looking at each sentence. Okay, how can I use fewer words for this? And then you're asking yourself, do I need this word right here? Do I have due to the fact when I can say because? Do I have, I met a person by the name of, Andrew, just because I'm looking right in your face. I met a person by the name of Andrew when I could just say, I met Andrew, right? Or I met, you don't have to say by the name of, you could say I met, a person named Andrew. Okay. So it's, it's little things that we don't need. And this practice, or this comes from, practice. But I think in order to initiate this practice is just something that we have to like be consciously looking out for. Okay. And then soon, you'll just be doing it automatically. Okay. And I keep going back to it, but um resume cover letter. All right, resume cover letter. Okay. And I keep saying that because you just get one final draft of that when you submit it. So I mean, you get as many rough drafts as you want, but when you submit it, that's the one. All right. And then here's some examples. Okay. And now this is something I struggle with because I say absolutely a lot. Okay. I noticed that from like watching my Zoom recordings. Okay. But you know, sometimes we can do without a lot of these words. I say certainly a lot too. Okay, definitely Maybe not completely, but absolutely, certainly, and definitely. Okay, well here, man, delete. Why? Because in our minds we're showing emphasis, but we don't need these words. Okay, we absolutely agree with that theory. Okay? That's how I hear it in my own mind, but it's really no different from saying we agree with that theory. All right. It's like when you do those surveys and the options will be like agree, strongly agree. It's kind of the same thing. Okay. If you agree with something, you agree with it. All right. It's the same thing. Absolutely agree. We certainly agree. Okay. You don't need that stuff. All right. Oh, all of the. Okay. Sometimes you can just get rid of the of the. Okay. All of the cells rupture. Right. When you can just say all the cells rupture. Okay. Oh man, as to weather. He was uncertain as to really as to completely. All right, that's not one of my favorite. And it really just a personal pet peeve of mine. It's nothing wrong with that, but yeah, just you don't need as to. Okay, he was uncertain whether you know even when you say whether, you don't need whether or not, right? You can just say whether. Okay, and then make sure you're using the right weather, right? Okay, he was uncertain whether he would attend the event next week. Okay, and then oh yeah, okay, here's my favorite one. Due to the fact that we have limited resources, we will need to ration our daily intake. We must ration our daily intake because of limited resources. Okay. And then, oh, okay, this is the last one. But there's a ton. All right. And again, the link to this site that I'm on right now is avoid fillers, and this is in the week 7 module. So as you're editing your essay, or even when you're done and you're going back to look over your essay, try to catch these phrases and see if you can replace them with something that is more concise. Okay, in order to, all right, in terms of, okay, this is what I was getting at. These phrases, I believe, in my opinion, I think I even see this in some sets of reading questions. But in academic writing, um, 99% of the time, you want to avoid, in my opinion, I think, I believe, unless your instructor asks you for your opinion, asks you for what you believe, asks you for what you think, don't put that in there. But here's the trick to it. Because everything you write is sort of what you believe or sort of your opinion. Uh, I think we are doing this. Learning. Okay. So in retune is why we should proofread. I think we like the word on the street is we are going to be faced. Actually, the campuses are starting to open now, and I believe students will be able to return to campus starting July. I'm not so sure about that, but all signs are pointing to us being back face to face in the fall. Okay, now let's say you have this as a sentence. Okay, here's an easy fix. Start that sentence with whatever you are going to say after, I believe, or after, in my opinion. Okay. So you don't really need this. All right. Also, when you like in composition 1 and definitely composition 2, when you're writing argument, oriented essays, I believe, in my opinion, I think that makes you sound unsure of yourself. And when you're writing, generally in writing, you want to project confidence, but definitely when you're making an argument, you want to project confidence. So try to avoid, I believe, in my opinion, I think, yeah. Again, unless you're asked. Um, my first essay in English 1510, it's a short personal narrative, and it's based on the This I Believe essay series. That essay, it's fine for students to say I believe. All right. But outside of that, it's no good. Okay. So try to work that into your process, when you write. And if you have that habit, of saying I think, I believe, just keep reminding yourself, whatever you're going to say after I believe, just start with that. Okay, just the same thing, in my opinion. Okay, just start here. Okay, school should, in my opinion. And just to take this point a little bit further, you just tell yourself, right? Your reader doesn't care about your opinions. They don't care about what you think. They don't care about what you believe. Of course, as your teacher, I care about all that stuff. But what I'm getting at is your reader, they care about what can be proven or what can be supported. So if you're saying my opinion, they're like, well, that's great, but show me the receipts, right? Or show me the evidence. Okay. So keep that in mind as you move forward, but really keep all of this in mind as you're going back through your paper and you're asking yourself, right? Are there instances of unnecessary wordiness that I can get rid of? Okay, do you have to catch every little one, as you go from draft number 2 to draft number 3? Of course not. But I think we can all, begin this practice. All right, of just trying to eliminate stuff we don't need. Because when it's all said and done, especially when you get to 1510, right? One thing you want in your papers, you want all killer, no filler. Okay, what I mean is, like, you want all content, and you want each sentence to have a meaning. Okay, so no filler. Okay, no filler, man, no filler. Okay, and like I was saying, there's a ton of them. All right, there's a ton of them. Okay, so that's that. All right. Here's something I also want us to try, or to start trying, to incorporate into your practice. Okay. Everything's going smooth here. Okay. We got the start of a paragraph here. Unfortunately, I fell ill in 2017. I had issues with my stomach and I had to see several doctors. Okay. All right. We're moving. Okay. Everything's good. I was nervous at my first appointment. Okay. Yeah, that's normal, for you to be nervous. Uh-oh. This is where we kind of went off the rails here. What why is this not cool? These two words I have highlighted here.
Because you're making a statement, you're claiming the truth about something that it was when it should say something without a filler.
Okay. All right.
Also engaging the reader, because you're saying you or your.
Yeah, keep going, Andrew.
That's all I really had.
All right. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah, yeah.
You had to sit in, you seem like you telling somebody else to do something.
Oh,
You had to sit in the code office and wait till your name was called.
okay.
It's like you telling the reader to do it, maybe.
And
I feel
now,
That somebody else is doing it.
I
absolutely.
feel like he went from like talking about himself to talking in third person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's another way to put it.
Okay. So we started off in the first person, which is I, me, we, us, our, and all that good, all these good pronouns. But then we switched over to the second person. So now when your reader sees this, guess what they're saying? I wasn't in the doctor's office with you. Okay. So this is what happens when we use second person point of view in our writing. And second person are the pronouns you, your, and you are. Okay, or your. Let me just all right. And in academic writing, these are words we traditionally avoid unless you see it like this. If it's in quotation marks, like you're quoting someone, maybe it's part of a conversation, that's fine. But if you're writing, like this, it's no good. Okay. But a good way to fix this, just keep your point of view consistent. I had to sit in the doctor's office until my name was called. Or there's another fix. Okay. Sometimes when we say you, we're referring to a specific group. Okay. So when I understand because, when we speak, sometimes we do use just the general you, which is fine, in a conversation, especially a casual conversation. But when writing, we don't want to point our fingers at our readers. Okay. And even on some of your papers, I may have even written, don't try not to address your reader directly. Okay. So sometimes we can just swap out, first person for, second person for first person. Other times we could be referring to a specific group when we say you. All right. So instead of you should be respectful, kids, okay? Children, right? Should be respectful when talking to their parents, okay? And then here, right? What can we put here? Who should always be on time for class? What is
Students should
Yeah.
always be on time
Yeah.
for class.
Absolutely.
Wait. Oh,
So if you're here's a good way to catch second person point of view in your paper. If you're using Microsoft Word, okay, you can just go find right up here. Okay, and then you type it in this navigation pane and it'll find, everywhere you use you. This is also good, like if you find yourself, sometimes we get, like I told you, I say absolutely and certainly a lot. Sometimes if we feel ourselves like leaning on a certain phrase, or leaning on a certain word, do a find just to make sure you're not overusing it. But now that you found all of your use, you can go back and think about how you're going to fix it. Will second person apply here? Or excuse me, will first person apply here, right? Or am I referring to a specific group? Okay. And just to reinforce this, okay, if we look in that week 7 module, get the you out of here. Okay. And here's why we don't use it. Okay. If you thought I just made all that up, okay, which I do sometimes. No, I don't. Right. Several reasons why you should avoid you in academic writing. Definitely causes confusion. This is one of the main issues, addresses the reader. Okay. You know, you should always take care of your mental health. And your reader's like, well, I do always take care of my mental health. You should always wear your seatbelt. I do always wear my seatbelt. It's imprecise. Who are you talking about when you say you? Okay, and that's really what we can ask ourselves. Like, who do we mean when we say you? Okay, am I talking about myself? Am I talking about a specific group of people? Shifts person, definitely like the example that I used, right? Went from first person to second person. It is too informal. Okay. One thing about our essays, I'm kind of hesitant to use the phrase academic tone, because I don't want these essays to be too formal, considering that they're narratives. But at the same time, you don't want to be too casual. Okay. And you definitely don't want to be too conversational. And I'm going off topic a little bit, but like, you don't want to say in your paper, anyway, all right, anyway, after the exam, or so. All right, so you don't want to begin sentences with anyway, or so, or definitely, this is way too conversational. Or, and this is kind of bringing us full circle because I'm using second person point of view here. Okay, now this is cool. Like, if you're talking, it's like when we talk. You hear it in me. Like I say, like a lot. All right, but I know in writing, I can't do that because that's a little too conversational. And it's the same thing with this. Let me tell you what happened next. Just tell them. Okay, just tell them what happened next. Or you'll never guess what happened next. Your reader, don't make them guess. Just tell them what happened next. Okay, so I saw the word informal and it brought that up. So try not to be too conversational, in your writing. Too formal. Okay, you don't have to be like extra formal with this thing, or too informal, I should say. You don't have to be extra formal, of course, but conversational elements maybe too much, for this assignment. Okay, and then here's some fixes, but they put it all in a nice, concise handout for us. I have this somewhere on my computer, and I'll get it uploaded to that module as well. But this is nice and nice and concise, and then it gives you some examples. There we go. Oh no, it doesn't give you some examples. It does something even better. Gives you an exercise. Right? A nurse must not only possess excellent math skills, but also strong communication skills. Each day, yeah. What should we say there? Instead of each day you, there's several options to fix that. What's one of them? Each day they, right, are required to speak with not doctors, patients, family members, therapists, and other nurses. They also have to, or nurses have to, present themselves in a professional manner by speaking articulately. Furthermore, everything they do or say, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it gives you the fixes, right? Or excuse me, it gives you the exercise. But I also have another one that just has some, you know, fixes. And I will let me see if I can just find it very quickly on my computer. Oh yeah, okay. So this one has some fixed examples, and I'll get this one uploaded. But you know, it's just something else to add to the mix to try to catch. I understand, you know, you may not catch them all, you know, as you go from draft 2 to 3. I just want you to start this practice. Okay, start practicing catching second person point of view, and it's a skill that we'll continue to hone as we start our common essay. Okay, which will be next week as well. Okay, once we wrap up draft number 3. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, don't put stuff like that in your writing. Well, anyway, okay, I never would have thought. All right, what time is it? We got time for one more thing here. I know I'm going like rapid fire over this stuff. All right. Oh yeah. Okay. Um, we're doing okay with fragments in this class. Okay. I think you know, for the most part, you know, we're writing in complete thoughts, writing in complete sentences, which is great. Okay. But okay, we're struggling a little bit with comma splice, and I know a few of you even put that in your self-assessment, which is great. Okay, even if you're continuing to struggle with comma splice, the fact that you know that that's an issue for you, that's progress. Okay, because the next step after that is finding them, right, fixing them. Okay, but it begins with like understanding, all right, I know what a comma splice is, and I know I have this issue. Okay, but you know, just as a review, okay, first thing, of course, the feedback key is the same as your first draft. So like the turquoise highlighting, it just means comma splice. Okay, here's your comma splice, and then here's the comma splice's buddy. It sucks, man. Consoles cheap out on you these days. Okay. Comma splice right here, run on right here. And just for review, remember, comma splice occurs when you join 2 complete sentences or 2 independent clauses with a comma. Okay, commas are our friends, but you know, they're the kind of friend that we can't take everywhere with us. Okay. I just bought a new Xbox. It only came with 1 controller. That's a run on. We put 2 complete sentences together with no punctuation. Okay. And on some of your papers, I put, you know, some strategies for fixing, right? One of the most reliable fixes is, you know, keep the comma, add a coordinating conjunction. Okay. Coordinating conjunction for, and, now, but, or, yet, so. Okay. If you were like listening for an acronym in your head, fanboys. Okay. Fanboys. For, and, or excuse me, for, Yeah, and, now, but, or, yet, so. Okay. I don't even know if people still say fanboy, but you know, that's what it was, man. All right. And so you can go coordinated conjunction. You can go separation. Okay. Technically right, but maybe not your best option as far as style. Okay. So separation just means making this one sentence into two sentences by adding a period where you have a comma, or you can go semicolon. All right. Semicolon, another one that's technically correct, but a lot of times, especially when we talk like coherence and the flow of a paragraph, a lot of times comma coordinated conjunction is going to be your best option. Okay. Just as far as like the like stylistic points. And I think a good way to gauge that is read your paragraph back to yourself. And if you have like a number of consecutive, just short, choppy sentences, okay, you know, use a comma, coordinated conjunction. You know, practice using transitions. All right. But I think all of this has to start with just kind of recognizing run-ons and comma splice. Okay. Same thing here. Run on. Basically, essentially your options are the same to fix run-ons. You can go comma, coordinated conjunction. I would go but there instead of and though. All right, you can go separation. Okay, you can get fancy. All right, add some more stuff. Okay, too bad it only came with one controller. Okay, and the library of games isn't that great just yet. Yet. Okay. But okay, let's consult Grammarly, man. Okay, Grammarly always gives these short tutorials. Okay, what is a comma splice? Koala bears are not actually bears. They are marsupials. Okay. How can we tell that's a comma splice? Because we have two independent clauses there, meaning each one of these sentences or these parts of this sentence could stand by itself and make sense. Koala bears are not actually bears, period. Okay. They are marsupials, period. So really, there are two complete sentences here. Okay. And this is like summing up what I just said. Okay. When you have two independent clauses, right? Again, independent clauses, group of words that can stand by itself as a sentence. But when you put them together with the comma, it's not enough. Boy George. Okay, if you're as old as me, you remember Boy George, Culture Club. All right. Now, here we go. Oh man, this sounds pretty serious. Okay. Here we go. Coordinated conjunction. I'm not angry with you, but I'm not happy with you either. Okay. That's an interesting way to start a conversation. Like I don't know what to I don't know what to say to that. Yeah, I'm not angry with you, but I'm not happy either. Okay, let's talk about it. All right. Comma, coordinating conjunction. All right. Semicolon. I'm not angry with you. I'm not happy with you either. Okay, or you know, make a couple sentences. Separation. I'm not angry with you. Not happy with you either. Okay. You gotta be shaking your head at that last part for effect. Not happy with you either. Man, that's nothing good is probably gonna come out of that conversation. Not happy with you either. That means they probably are angry with you. They just don't
Not mad at you. I'm just disappointed.
Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse. That's even worse, man. I'd rather you be mad. Okay. All right. And then here's some additional examples. Okay. I'm thinking to skip Now, why? Okay, I take offense at this example. Okay, I'm thinking of skipping English class. It's really boring. Okay, but if we're really keeping it real here, sometimes when I'm sitting in my office on campus, like I have this thought too, thinking of skipping English class. It's really boring. It's not, man. It's not. It doesn't have to be. Okay, I get that Zoom meetings can be kind of boring, but face to face, man, I try to make my classes interactive as possible, man. Like I don't like my students sitting around doing nothing, being passive, just listening to me talk all day. All right. I'm thinking about skipping English class. Okay. Now with this one, my first instinct, because I'm thinking like flow, would be to use a coordinating conjunction, but there's not one that would really fit there. Okay. We could say because it's really boring, but that's not a conjunction. All right, because it's really boring. Okay. Separation or a semicolon will work best in this context. Okay. This is the perfect situation for a semicolon. Okay. And here's our two fixes, right? Here's a semicolon, and then here's some separation. What time is it? Okay, five more minutes, and then I'll send you out on your merry way. Okay, we'll cover the rest of this material Wednesday. Dan was late. We left without him. Okay, sucks to be you, Dan. Sucks to be you. All right, now a conjunction would fit well here. Okay. Dan was late. So we left without him. Okay. And then Dan called us and said, I'm not angry with you, but I'm not happy either. Okay. All right. Here we go. Semicolon. Yeah, semicolon will work. And then separation will work as well. But I think in this case, coordinated conjunction. So what does that tell you? When you're going back over your paper, catch, comma, splice. Okay. Once you catch them, now you have to think about, okay, what is the best fix here? Is it comma, coordinated conjunction? Is it semicolon? Is it separation? Okay. Because like I was saying here, a coordinated conjunction wouldn't really fit. All right. But it would here. So think about, what you need to fix your sentence or to fix your comma splice. And like with everything, that we've covered today, start the practice. Okay. Start the practice. You don't have to get to the finish line in one day. Okay. But I think, if we start catching them and start trying to fix them, as we progress, it'll become a more normative process. All right. But it begins with going back over your paper. Okay. And I think like going from draft number 2 to draft number 3, it's a great opportunity for that, because for most of us, we already have all or most of the content that we're going to add to our papers. So now we can just start fine tuning the mechanics of it. Okay. Meaning what we're going to say is already there for most of us. Now it's time to start thinking about how we're going to say it. Can I say this differently? Can I eliminate, some of these words? Do I have comma splice? And now that I know I do, what's the best option to fix? Okay, what's the best option to fix? Are comma splices ever okay? Yes, but for our class, no. All right. Sometimes you do get a little license. Okay, a little artistic license, when you write. Okay. It's the same with fragments. Sometimes you have a fragment that's just for effect. Okay. Like this would be an example of intentional comma splice. I came, I saw, I conquered. Okay. That's what we're all going to be saying at the end of this semester. Okay. I came, I saw. Now, all right. there's more material. There's actually some book stuff I wanted to get to today, but I just jotted down these notes and I wanted to address all this stuff. But I do want to go over some more just to recap about like paragraphing. So we'll get to that business on Wednesday. Okay. And you know, all the material I just covered is in week 7. Okay. Draft number 2 is in your assignment folder. If you did not submit it yet, make sure you get that in. Also, if you didn't submit a self-assessment, make sure you get that in as well, because I'm just interested in hearing, you know, your process. And then the final thing about the self-assessment, make sure you do the whole thing. Okay, there were a few that were submitted that a couple folks didn't do the final page. And the final page is just yes, no questions. All right, so you can still submit that. Draft number 2, you can still submit, you know, if you didn't get it in. Just try to get it in ASAP, because I want to have those turned around, and then excuse me, I have another section of 1060 that I'm gonna start reading theirs as well. So get yours in so you can get some feedback. All right, so that's where we are. Okay, of course, there's another set of reading questions. I'll get those posted. All right, almost done with reading questions. Okay, almost done with the book too. Okay, try to get done with the book when there's at least like 5 or 6 weeks left in the semester.